Game night right here, Sactown Sports, 1140. Scott Marshall on with the high flyer, Henry Turner. Kings and Blazers, part 2 tonight. Part 1 could not have gone any better for Sacramento, of course, blowing out the Blazers 120-80. That was the small part of it. Of course, the big part of it, the Kings are in the playoffs for the first time since 2006. Absolutely. The streak is over, the longest in NBA history and the longest in North American sports. Henry, I wish I could have been here on Wednesday night with you guys when that final buzzer came up. It was emotional for everybody. What was it like for you, my friend?
I was happy. I was definitely happy, and I was proud for everybody in uniform, everybody for the organization. It's been a long time coming. Definitely was excited seeing the fans out in front of Doko and they lighting the beam, all of that great stuff. But here's what I want you to do, Scott.
Yep.
Clap your hands 2 more times. Okay. Partying over with.
All right. Mission accomplished. On to the next assignment.
We are back to business.
Okay.
Back to business. You haven't done anything yet.
Okay.
Still got to get back to business. Take care of business until the end of the season, and then we can party just a little bit more.
Okay.
One night, then you get right back to business because the playoffs is coming.
Yep, the playoffs are coming. We know that, and the Kings are going to host a first-round series, too. That hasn't been locked up mathematically, but it is a formality, too. That'll be the next step. That is awesome. We'll talk about all of that and a lot more in the next hour, and, of course, you can join us as well, 1-800-920-1140. You want to give us your thoughts on what it means to you to have the Kings back in the playoffs. You want to give us your thoughts on the matchups, who it might be, who you would like to see, all of those things. We can talk about it right here on Sactown Sports. And for the Kings, again, win 46, and you talk about back to business. They celebrated on Wednesday night, and that was a lot of fun.
And rightfully so.
And they deserved it, and
right.
You have to honor that indeed.
Mm-hmm.
And part of the celebration, of course, was Keegan Murray breaking the all-time rookie record for most threes in the season.
Salute. That's it.
188 for Keegan Murray. He passes the Spider, Donovan Mitchell. And maybe the most impressive thing about that is, of course, how he did it. I mean, he's shooting 40% from beyond the arc. Donovan Mitchell, in the year he did it, he shot 34%. So obviously he put up a lot more three-point jacks than Keegan did to get the same record.
You know what I liked about the whole situation, Scott? I mean, the game was in hand. All right. We understood that. But I love when Keegan Murray took the shot because he knew where he was.
Yes.
He took the shot. The shot went down, and they showed a picture of him. He gave a little smirk at Sabonis real quick and then went back into Keegan mode.
And in Keegan mode, that was a huge grin, right?
Yeah, and Keegan,
ear to ear.
I mean, no, it was quick. It was real quick.
But I'm just saying for him, that's like you and I, like breaking out in full
and went right back to Keegan mode.
Yeah.
And, I just love this young man's demeanor, Scott. I really do. Understanding that he's a very humble young man. And understanding what he did, I mean, he's number one. Mm-hmm. You are number one, the all-time leader in this category. And, I'm not saying he took it for granted because I don't think he's that type of dude.
No.
But I think it's like, okay, that's done. But he's taking more so on Mike Brown's analogy of the task isn't done.
Yep, we've just started.
The job isn't over.
No doubt. And that's been the message. I mean, you listen to everybody talk about afterwards, obviously thrilled to be in the playoffs. That was the starting point, but it was just a starting point. And you hear everybody talk, and it's not so much about whether it'll be the 3 seed or the 2 seed, but this team, you get the feeling they really are on a mission to get 50 wins.
Oh, I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
Because,
50.
Okay. Here's the scenario.
Yep.
Does 50 wins automatically equates to that number 2 position?
Not at all.
Okay, because here's the question I have for you.
Yeah.
At the end all be all, what's more important for the Sacramento Kings? To get those 50 wins or to walk into the playoffs fully healthy?
absolutely being fully healthy. That is number one, without a doubt. And unfortunately,
and see, that's the quandary this basketball team is about to be in. I mean, you see right now, Denver is shutting it down a little bit.
Sure. No Murray and Jokic most likely tonight.
Exactly. Memphis is going to start shutting it down because you need everybody to be healthy. We've seen what happened to Kevin Durant, even in layup line. Crazy things has happened. So at this particular situation, how hard do you push to get that 50? I'm with them. I really want the team to get to that 50. But I think it's a little under what I want as far as the Kings walking into the playoffs, because I think they could do something special walking into the playoffs fully healthy.
50 is a great goal, but it's not the ultimate goal, obviously. Right now, the Clippers are playing the Grizz. They're in a back-to-back as well. Clippers are blowing out Memphis 32-14. Now, Jaren Jackson started this game. Dillon Brooks is back. John Morant starting. Desmond Bane's in the starting lineup. So to your point, they've got a lot of starters back who did not play on Wednesday last time out. But the Grizz are 48-28. And the Kings are 2 games behind, but they have the tiebreaker on the Grizz.
How many minutes have those guys played?
It's still first quarter.
Okay.
So it's hard to tell. I mean, Morant's played 10 minutes, so he hasn't been substituted out yet. So we'll see as it progresses here. But the Clippers are a team on the mission. And to your point, much different circumstances between the Clips and the Grizz, although every team's got to be healthy, right? But the Clips right now, they've got a chance to get into the 4 seed. They're only a half game behind Phoenix. The Warriors are only 1 game behind them. And, as much as everything else, and the one thing you absolutely, as much as you try to maneuver and you try to think a win here or a loss there or whatever you do, the playoff matchups mean so much, but you really can't totally control that.
You can't. The only thing that you can probably control, Scott, is you hope to control. You want your guys to be healthy and playing their best basketball at the end. I'm not throwing it out there like I'm hating on the 50 win. No, I want this team to get 50 wins. But there's also a side B to that album. You play Thriller all day and all night, but you want to be starting something is a good song too. It's on the other side.
Well, no, you're right. You're right about that. You got to have both tracks, man.
Exactly.
You got to have all the hits. And speaking of the Kings, they did take a hit on Wednesday night. Della Vadova went down as a fractured finger, indefinite timeline for his return. Now, obviously, Della Vadova is not a guy who ultimately is going to be a massive factor in what the Kings do, but he's still a guy who you want to have as part of it. And to your point, you don't want that happening to any of your starters or key reserves.
That's the thing right there, Scott. How one play can definitely derail what you have going. And all of this success that you have put in can be derailed by one injury. I've never been one to say, okay, sit guys out. You know me, I'm old school. I've never been that. But for what I'm looking at for this basketball team, I really want them to be able to start off these playoffs with full health.
Yeah, you've got to have full health. And that is number one. I absolutely agree with you. We'll see how Mike Brown plays at the remaining 6 games. You got to feel in a game like tonight when you're playing the Blazers, who absolutely are a G League team at this point in time. They have 10 guys who will not be playing tonight. You got to feel like, Mike Brown's going to pull the strings back a little bit and you can still get this one. And you've got San Antonio at home on Sunday, similar circumstances for the Spurs.
Now, Scott, I will say this. I will say this. I really hope that this team has the mindset. If they don't have the mindset of, okay, pulling back or whatever, they're still trying to, get to the 50. I hope this team has the mindset, the starters. We're going to come out, get this game under control early and often as we can, and sit your players down. Let some of your guys who haven't had major minutes play these games. If the starters can come out and say, okay, we're playing a G League team, and you're 20 points better than that G League team, how about get up those 20 points in that first quarter or that second, early in that second quarter, and let the other guys ride it out? Yeah,
because to your point, that didn't happen on Wednesday night.
It didn't. That's what I'm saying.
It was not a good first quarter for the Kings. No. They only scored 19 points.
Right, and that big deficit didn't kick in until the third or the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
So I want the guys to still push. I still want them to win games, but it's a way you have to get things done now, Scott. you have to be really prepared, and it really has to be, methodical in how you get things done. Go out, get your work done early, and let these other guys play.
Man, there's a lot to consider these final few days.
Man, isn't it?
There's a lot going on here.
Yeah.
All across all these teams in the Western Conference. That's what makes this so fun, because every team is running through all these calculations right now. You could say that about every Western Conference team. And again, other massive games tonight. You've got the Lakers and the Timberwolves. And to your point about injuries, Naz Reid, broken wrist, going to be out 6 weeks.
Going to hurt them.
A massive loss for the Timberwolves.
Going to hurt them. Naz Reid gave us buckets, Scott. Now, I will tell you this. I hate for any player to go out with massive injury while you're pushing. But I'll tell you what, as a Sacramento Kings fan and understanding that we could match up with Minnesota, much rather see them without Naz Reid. He gives us fits.
Well, and now that you know that, and just throwing everything out there, if the Kings could get to the 2, they probably would eliminate having to play Golden State. The Timberwolves are most likely, again, don't know for sure, they're going to be in that play-in scenario. So that could be the team you would ultimately face.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
One of those situations.
There's a lot to weigh.
You know what? It's very exciting.
It is. It's great.
At this part of the
we're
year,
talking
Scott.
about so fantastic.
And, the beauty of all of this is that we haven't even had a chance to talk about basketball at this level.
No.
In 16 years, like I said, last year we were talking about, okay, where we're going to be at the draft and, what's going on in the Final Four.
Can we see the latest tape of Wembanyama and see how that might look in Sacramento if we were to get lucky?
We're talking about everything else, free agency, who's going to look where, existing contracts. We would talk about all these things, last year. But this year, we get to talk about meaningful basketball.
We are lucky. We are very blessed right now with what the Kings are doing. It's been a magical season, and hopefully the magic will continue for the Kings. It's Kings and Blazers tonight. We'll break it down until 6:30 if you want to join us. 1-800-920-1140. We'll also be up. We are up and running in our YouTube chat room. We'll be in there during the breaks on that side as well if you want to join the conversation in that. We do have a poll question up. Who's going to be the Kings' leading scorer tonight? Fox, Sabonis, Herter, or other? We'll let you jump into that. It is game night. It's brought to you by Power Business Technology, our good friends over there. Give them a call and see how they can help you with all your business copier needs. Give them a call at 1-844-POWER-BZ or simply go to powercopiers.com. More of game night right here. Sactown Sports, 1140.
All righty, we are clear.
Kyle, what do we got, my man? How are you tonight?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. There's no place I'd rather be.
How did you celebrate on Wednesday night? Were you down at the Doco?
Well, so we were all together.
You were in here too.
We were working the game, Deuce and Henry and myself. But I went down. I didn't really go and party with Kings fans, but I just wanted to see the atmosphere down there at the Beam. So I was kind of watching from up above, seeing people celebrate. Deuce and Mo were down there. It was kind of cool. But I just wanted to see what it was like, how things were going. So I drove down there after work and then went home and went to sleep.
Well, there you go. Okay. What do we got going on in the chat room?
Well, you mentioned our poll. We wanted to see who the leading scorer is against, I believe we called it a G League team earlier. So
isn't that fair? I mean, Shaedon Sharp's not a G League player. Matisse Thybulle's not a G League player. But when you start going to some of the reserves, it's G League.
And now that Ryan Arcidiacono is out, I believe.
Oh, the whole team's out. I've got the list. It's 10 guys who are not playing tonight.
I believe someone named Skylar Mays is their starting point guard tonight.
To our poll question, I'm not sure who came up with it, but do we really care who the leading scorer is for the Kings tonight? Because we're hoping that all the Kings starters are out after about 20 or 25 minutes tonight.
So would it be cool if it was like Terrence Davis ends up being the starting scorer?
Yeah, let's put some reserves on this list. Hopefully it's not Fox, it's not Sabonis, it's not Herther. I'm voting other.
I vote for other. The other category needs some love right now.
I just clicked on other. It's got 29%.
There we go. That's a little bit better because people were coming in strong with Herter, which if you were listening to the morning show today, they're teasing him. His career high is 30, but he's had 29, I want to say like 6 or 7 times.
He's been stuck on 29. There's no doubt. But he's not getting there tonight. No way.
I would agree with you because
if he's getting there tonight, I am very upset about the Kings' performance tonight.
Because he would have to play deep into the fourth quarter to do it?
Exactly. All right, what do we got in the chat? Who's in there?
We got our friend Tin there.
Okay.
We've got Brother Fobs. I don't know who. I've never seen this person before. So welcome to our Sactown Sports game night.
Yeah, I'll read them out. My only worry is that a lot of teams are still resting their stars when playing the Kings throughout the season. So come playoffs, everyone is playing huge minutes. How will they handle full, healthy opponents? We'll throw that to you, High Flyer. That's true. The Kings have gotten pretty lucky. Their health's been great, but they've gotten the benefits of a lot of teams not playing their guys.
Hey, they have been very fortunate in playing teams that was low band, undermanned. But I think when the playoffs starts, we know play elevates. There are no secrets in the playoffs. So it's not going to be, a situation to where, okay, we got new guys. Okay, you know what? If they see Phoenix with a Kevin Durant, okay, you got to bring your A game. But at the end of the day, you still have to execute at a very high level once you hit the playoffs.
Yeah, you do for sure. And you're going to see their best people. You're going to see them rested. You don't have to have back-to-backs. You're going to have the scout fully intact. And, it's a different world.
It totally is.
10 seconds.
After that second game, nothing's a secret.
Yep. Welcome back to the game night right here, Sactown Sports 1140. Scott Marshall on with the High Flyer, Henry Turner, Kings and Blazers. 7 o'clock tip. G-Man with the call. And by the way, Gary, as always, with a great wrap-up call on Wednesday night when the Kings did wrap up that playoff spot. It was great. Do we have it, Kyle? Can we run that at some point again?
You give me 1 minute, I got
you. Being able to work with the G-Man on a night in, night out basis and see the preparation and see what he does before basketball games. And now, getting a chance to watch him broadcast another playoff series is going to be epic.
No doubt. There's almost nobody I'm more happy for than him.
Me neither. I mean, the last of a dying breed. He is, the one and the only that has stood the test of time and is still going.
All 38 years and going strong.
Every last one.
Still as good as he was for game one right now is the great G-Man. And we're going to listen to that call right now.
Dellavedova holding it. See if he tries to give it up to avoid being credited a turnover or not. He's just going to hold it. And the buzzer sounds to shot clock violation. So the Blazers will get the ball back. We have only 12.8 seconds remaining. And Kings fans, we can see them in all areas of the arena. A lot of purple on their feet, chanting, "Light the beam." Well, in a matter of 5 seconds, it will be lit in Sacramento. The horn sounds, and for the first time in 17 years, 16 seasons of frustration, 16 years of wandering in the desert, looking for that oasis, the Kings have finally found the sparkling waters, the palm trees. It's not a mirage, it's the real deal. Sacramento has clinched first round home court advantage in the playoffs that will be starting in a couple of weeks. Tonight's final score is 120-80.
There it is. Great call. The Kings literally parting the purple seas. There's no question.
It's not a mirage.
Nope.
It's the real deal.
Yeah. So super cool. All right. Let's look at the conference standings. So Denver's 51-25. They're 3 games ahead of the Grizz. But to your point, they didn't play Jokic last time out. Jokic and Murray are both very doubtful for tonight's game as well. The Grizz are playing right now, but they're only 2 games ahead of the Kings. And the latest on that game, they were getting blown out in the first quarter by the Clippers. Updated score on that contest, 36-29. Now the Grizz have come back a little bit, 7-point game, just starting second quarter there. Of course, the Kings are in the 3 seed, 46-30. The Suns, 41-35. The Clips at 41-36. The Warriors, 40-37. Those are your 6 playoff teams right now. The Pelicans are making a great run, and boy, if they could have won that game in Golden State on Sunday night, a game they led by 20 in the first half, how different things would be. They would be in the 6th spot right now. Right. The Warriors would be in that play-in. So huge win by the Warriors. T-Wolves 39-38, the Lakers 38-38, the Thunder at 38-39. And as you look at some of the games going on tonight, I mean, there are just some monster games. You've got Denver in Phoenix, and again, we'll see who Denver plays, but it's big for the Suns to try and keep a top 4 seed and get a first round home playoff series. Warriors should roll against the Spurs tonight. Lakers and T-Wolves are already underway. That game in Minnesota. The Lakers are leading 45-44, but that's as big a game as you'll see in the NBA tonight.
Yeah, I think that's really big because, of course, everybody wants to know where will the Lakers be. I don't think it's one person that's concerned about what's going on with the Minnesota Timberwolves. It's all about what is going on in La La Land.
No doubt. Now, with Naz Reid out, they do get Big Cat back at the right time. That should help. But boy, as we talked about, that's a huge loss. Naz Reid is just so much a part of that team.
Yeah, I mean, big time loss, Scott, because
it is.
Cat goes back into the starting lineup. All right. Naz Reid is, their force that's coming off the bench. I mean, I talked about it. As much as I love what Malik Monk does off the bench for the Sacramento Kings, I definitely put Naz Reid right up there with him as far as 6th man of the year for what he's doing for the Minnesota Timberwolves is Herculean.
I agree with that. Oklahoma City's leading the Pacers. So again, OKC in this mix, they're in the 10th seed. They're 38-39. So they're going to get the 500 tonight. They're right in that mix. And of course, they're trying to keep out Dallas at 37-40 right now.
It's just, Scott, I love that parity. To where all teams are fighting for something right now. You really don't have too many teams. You have a few, but you really don't have too many teams that's just like, okay, it's over for us. That's what that play-in does for the NBA now. To where if you're still in that, 8th, 9th, 10th position, you still fighting like a dog to get up in there.
No question. Maybe that was one good thing to come from that whole bubble season and fighting through COVID was the play-in that was developed out of this, because it's been fun for the league. It's been great.
No, it has. Kind of give you that second chance type thing to where, all right, you've been injured all year. You've been plagued by injury, but all of a sudden you get all of your guys back. Okay, you know what? If you're that good, AKA the Lakers, if you're that dominant of a basketball team, AKA Phoenix Suns, LA Clippers, all the other championship or bust teams, you got your guys back. Now you have one last run at it. Let's see what you can do.
No doubt. In Denver and Phoenix, a lot of people think that could be your Western Conference Finals matchup. But again, it won't mean a lot tonight if Jokic and Murray aren't playing.
No, not at all. And Coach Mike Malone is a good coach, very good coach, borderline great coach. Why are you going to throw your guys out there and say, okay, you know what? Let you get very acclimated and say, hey, we know what we can do against them. We've seen them at their best. No. Not at all. Y'all going to see a very mediocre squad. You're not going to see all of my guys at their best. And then hopefully if we meet, I get to throw something new out there at you.
No doubt. And of course, Sacramento's in Denver on the final game of the year. Who knows what that might mean? It might mean win 50 for the Kings. It might mean a 2 seed. Just who knows? But keep that in the back of your mind, because, if Malone's doing this now, there's no chance that Jokic and Murray are playing in game 82 if they've got the 1 seed locked up.
I don't think so. And, and wouldn't that be crazy if they needed that game to get to that 50?
Yes.
And that 50 also equated to that number 2 position?
It could be. The stars have aligned all season long.
It has. I mean, the Sacramento Kings have been very, very fortunate this year. They've taken care of business. They play great basketball, but they have definitely had some luck on their side.
And they've stayed healthy. Speaking of last night, though, we said that Denver and Phoenix, I think if you polled most people, that would be the most likely matchup you would get from the majority of people for the Western Conference Final. No doubt. On the Eastern side, if you did the same thing, it would be Boston and Milwaukee. They locked up last night in Milwaukee. They both played at full strength, and the Celtics whipped them by 41, 140-99. They had a 49-point lead in that game.
Wow. Nuts.
Does that mean anything at all?
To me, honestly, no, because everything starts over when the playoffs start. But what's what's crazy to me, Scott, is that you're even saying it. Right now, the majority are saying Denver versus Phoenix to come out of the West.
Mm-hmm.
How does Phoenix just straight out jump Memphis and the Kings?
Should they? How do you size them up with a healthy KD and Booker?
We still ain't seen what a healthy KD and Booker looks like.
We saw them for 3 games, and we saw it last 4 games now.
Well, it depends upon who they playing also. My thing is, why, Scott, can't neither one of these teams get some respect?
That's fair.
They fought, they've played, they have showed the league that they deserve to be right where they are, but still the league just looks right over them because Phoenix gets one play.
Well, if you hear Brian Windhorst, who, went off earlier, the ESPN reporter, saying every team's trying to get to the 6th seed to take on Sacramento.
Well, I kind of said that earlier too. I said, who has the biggest target on their back right now?
It's the Kings.
No, I said that.
Yeah, it's the lack of respect, right?
It's
the Rodney Dangerfield effect.
It's
here.
the lack of respect. And, and the Kings have to understand that, that's what it's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's going to be until you make the playoffs 2 times, 3 times.
Not 3, not 4, not 5.
No, here's the deal. Until you get into the playoffs and then go to the second round, make some noise because you're going to have that target on your back because everybody's looking at you like you're still a lesser. And not because of what you can do as a basketball team, but straight from an experience point of view.
Yeah, no doubt. And when you look at the playoff experience of the Kings, I mean, there's not a lot of players who have it. Obviously, Harrison Barnes has some experience, but they do have a coach who has a ton of playoff experience. Mike Brown. And
that's why they are where they are right now. Think about it, Scott. Mike Brown wasn't happy when they got the 40 wins. No. He wasn't satisfied with that. He was like, 40 wins is nothing.
No.
Because he's looking at the overall, the totality of it. We were ecstatic. We said 40 wins. Woohoo!
Yeah.
Kings balling. Mike Brown's like, it's nice, but we're still pushing.
Exactly. And I think Mike Brown, he's such a great community guy too. So he knows how much it means to the organization, the community to get to the playoffs. But if you spoke to him off the record, he'd be like, man, I ain't celebrating this.
No, he said it on record, Scott. He really
Not
did.
So many words.
No, yes, he did.
Okay.
He said straight out, he said, you know what? I understand where the fans are. 40 wins is great compared to where this team was. He said, but my goal for this team is much bigger. 40 wins is nothing to me on my personal goal.
Yeah.
He said it.
Yeah.
And I understand him because he's come from a pedigree to where it's the end all be all goal.
Yeah.
I mean, we've put all these steps in as fans and as media for this team.
Yeah.
His end all be all goal still in the match. The end all be all goal for him was 50 wins.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we might see a different Mike Brown after that, but that was his goal. And within that goal was them making the playoffs.
All right. And when we come back, we'll break it down. Will the Kings get to 50 wins? We'll look at the remaining schedule for Sacramento, that and a lot more. Game night being brought to you by the Big Brothers and Big Sisters of Sacramento. If you have a heart of service and you like to do things good in the community and really want to do something good for our children in our community, consider Big Brothers and Big Sisters. There's so many kids aged 7 to 18. They're being raised by single parents. They could use some mentorship in our community. Perhaps that is you. Give Big Brothers and Big Sisters a call at 916-646-9300 or visit bbbs-sac.org to learn more about being a volunteer mentor. More of Game Night right here, Sactown Sports, 1140.
All righty, we're on YouTube.
All right, Kyle, what do we got?
Well, you guys had an interesting conversation about Jokic and the Nuggets and their strategy at the end of the season. And Henry, your guy Joel Embiid's looking more and more like the MVP as the weeks go along. I wonder how their strategy has affected Jokic's chances of a 3rd straight MVP.
I'll tell you this. If you're a 2-time MVP, right?
Yeah.
But you still haven't won a championship, that 3rd MVP means nothing. Nothing if you can't get that championship ring. So I'm pretty sure Jokic is not upset. He'd much rather be going into the playoffs ready to go, saying, okay, we need to make this push. That 3rd MVP is not going to make or break his career. He still is who he is with 2 MVP championships, two MVPs up under his belt.
Yeah, and I think the bigger part too is that this is the best team Denver has had in the entire
Sure.
Jokic run.
But whether Jokic plays one more minute this season has nothing to do with the MVP vote at this point, in my opinion. And I honestly feel like Embiid's already wrapped it up.
It's been over.
I think so. I
Yeah.
agree.
And to be 100,
Yeah.
I think that was wrapped up. That was wrapped up when Denver went to Philly and Philly put that beating on them,
Mm-hmm.
and Embiid just went nuts. I think it was wrapped up as soon as that game was over.
Yep. And I just feel Giannis has two, Jokic has two. It's Embiid's turn.
I agree with you.
Because you can make a great case for any one of those three. I personally think Embiid's season has just been slightly better, but the fact that he hasn't won one, I think pushes it over too.
Yeah,
It's
and
just
if you had said that a month ago, I would have been surprised. It would have been like, well, Jokic is the best player in the league. He's been statistically. That's not the case anymore. Embiid has matched him and in some cases surpassed him statistically.
And let's put this out there also. A three-peat on the MVP is really unheard of.
Yeah.
Because I honestly think that, most of the people who have a vote look at it as, you already got two. It's time to make somebody else in here MVP. And especially if that person is really deserving, he's right there, they're going to give it to the new guy.
Yeah, there's only 4 players in NBA history who've won 3 in a row. It's Bill Russell, Larry Bird. I want to say Wilt, and I forget the fourth.
I
Was it
believe
Michael? I don't even know if Michael did it. I'd have to look up on the
Larry
fourth.
Bird's the last to win 3 straight
Yes,
MVPs.
that is correct. And Russell did it as well, and I'm very confident that
I'll-
Wilt did it. But
Yeah,
the fourth
and-
one I'd have to look. I
and
would guess Jordan, but I.
LeBron had 4 in 5 years, and there was one
Yeah.
breakup in between with the Derrick Rose one.
Yeah. All right. So in the chat, Jersey Devs 2000. Let's see. I can understand if the Kings don't do full-on load management, but if the Kings clinch number 3 and cannot catch Memphis, the starter should probably play less minutes in the final few games. That makes sense to me.
No, big time. Big time. That's why I asked. It's like, okay, so how much does it mean to you?
And they're probably going to be playing Memphis in the second round, theoretically, if we get there, because Suns and Nuggets would match up in round 2. Those air quote 2 best teams would be playing in the second round.
Yeah, that's the way the flight is scheduled right now because they do not reseed in the NBA playoffs. Adam, I saw what you did there. Not 1, 2, 3. Thank you. Of course, my LeBron reference to Miami. Appreciate that.
Got to win a couple.
That's right. Let's see. What else do we have?
We got 15 seconds.
I thought HT was about to break out Whitney Houston. MVP don't mean nothing. Little Whitney reference there, I guess, to a song.
Okay. I'm missing it, but all right.
We'll get it. All right, welcome back into game night right here. Sactown Sports 1140. Scott Marshall on with the high flyer, Henry Turner. We're feeling good. It's a Friday. The weather's good. The Kings are in the playoffs. Can't start things better off than that. If you want to join us, you certainly can. 1-800-920-1140. We appreciate everybody in our chat room on our YouTube site at Sactown Sports. We'll continue to engage there during the breaks, and Kyle's engaging right now as well. As we left the last break, the Kings getting to 50. Let's just break down the remaining 6 games on Sacramento's schedule. You've got Portland tonight. That better be a W.
Mm-hmm.
You've got the Spurs on Sunday. That better be a W.
Mm-hmm.
So you're at 48 going to New Orleans. Pelicans are going to be tough. They're playing well. Back-to-back with the Mavericks, who aren't playing well, but they are desperate. So that will not be a gimme. You come home to take on the Warriors. That's going to be a heck of a game. I can't wait for 1 week from tonight. Warriors here. Is that your first round playoff matchup? Kings and Warriors never happened before.
Would be nice. Would be nice. But, Scooter, I've always said take it game by game.
Yep.
And I am really in that mode right now when we talk about the rest of the season.
Yep.
Take it game by game and honestly look at this thing methodically and really understand what is important for the end-all, be-all goal. That's all I got to say.
That's all that matters. You're right about that. And then, as we said, they finish in Denver. Who knows what the Nuggets will be doing in that game? Who knows what the Kings might be doing in that game based on everything else? But you've got 2 lockdown W's, as close to a lock as you can get tonight and Sunday. And then you roll out the dice on the other 4. But if you go 50-50, you would get the 50 under that scenario.
And then I was just looking up there on the board at one of our screens.
Yep.
Memphis is at 48. All right.
Yes, they are.
Look like they're struggling right now to win.
Yes, that is true.
If they lose that, Kings win tonight, they're 1 game.
With the Kings with the tiebreaker.
They're 1 game.
Yes.
So now that puts a whole different spin on it.
It does. Now let's update that score in Memphis because they were down big early.
Right.
But right now they're leading that game 55-51.
Oh, they're up now.
They've come back from they were down 32-14.
Because see, in my eyes, right, if Memphis don't win tonight and the Kings do, that's a 1 game between 3rd and 2nd.
Yep.
Yeah, you still play your main guns and try to get to that 2nd spot. But if you can't get to that 2nd spot, then it's a different scenario.
And let's check out the Memphis schedule the remainder of the way. I'm curious to see how it compares to the Kings. So Clips tonight. They're in Chicago on Sunday. Bulls are playing very well right now.
Okay. Bulls need a win.
They've got an automatic win against the Trailblazers at home on Tuesday.
Okay.
They go to New Orleans, so that'll be a back-to-back for New Orleans after playing the Kings. Not an easy game, obviously.
If New Orleans is still in the hunt.
Correct. Which they're going to be in the hunt, but we're playing Grizz. Then they go to Milwaukee to take on the Bucks. Are the Bucks in cruise control at that point?
You never know.
Is Giannis playing? Have they wrapped up the number 1 seed? And then they got the Thunder in OKC. So they finish on the road. New Orleans, Milwaukee, and Oklahoma City. That's a tough finish.
Yeah. It's going to be tight.
Yeah, it's going to be real tight.
It's going to be tight.
Yeah.
And you know, Scott, as well as the Kings have played, as great things that they have done this year, they are still going to be able to look back at a couple of those games and said, wow, if we would have took care of business in this game and in that game, we would be right there in second place, solid where we want to be.
There's a few games that stand out. That Wizards game before Christmas.
Yep.
That was not very good. The Raptors game was not a good game.
Another one, Washington.
Yep.
Yeah. So, you know, just a couple of games to where you're like, if you would have got those two, I mean, think about it, Scott.
Oh, yeah.
We can just point to 2 games now. Yeah. If you would have just took care of business, those 2 games, it's over with.
And what do you famously say at the beginning of the year? 1 out of 82, it counts the same.
It counts.
And the Kings started 0-4.
Yeah, it counts the same. And every year, you always be able to look back at a game to where if you'd have just boxed out.
Yep.
If you'd have just closed out that game. If you'd have just shot the ball a little bit better. Yep. If you would have made 10 free throws instead of 7.
Yep.
You would be at the number 2 spot, hands down.
No doubt. Now, in fairness, every team could say that.
No. I'm just saying.
But yes, specifically with the Kings, of course.
Yes, specifically I'm with this team. I know every team can.
Yeah.
I'm just talking about our team, the team that we watch every night, and the team that we see who have hiccups along the way.
Yeah, for sure. That is absolutely for sure. And again, I think we could say, too, because the Kings' road record has been phenomenal. The home record hasn't been terrible, but to your point, with Golden One Center the way it is, you would like to even see it be a little more of a home court advantage.
For sure. But they've done a great job of being able to go out on the road and galvanize wins. And honestly, Scott, when you look over the history of the playoffs, the history of the NBA, if you're a team that can go out and manufacture wins on the road, you're a more dangerous team in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. Because teams don't want to see you because you're able to win on the road. Yep. And if you can do that, of course you're supposed to win at home. But if you're a big-time team that can win on the road, that pushes you out even further.
Yeah, and to your point, the game last night, Boston winning in Milwaukee. They're 25-15 on the road. And if you'll recall last year, they beat Milwaukee on the road in what was an elimination game for them in Game 6. They came home, won in Game 7 on their home floor. So if you're Milwaukee and you've got the best record, there has to be a little seed of doubt if you're matching up against Boston. They know that the Celtics can come in at any time and beat them there.
Yes, because they're a team that don't fear going on the road. Yeah. They're a team that don't fear walking into your place and playing great basketball. So the Sacramento Kings are kind of like in that type of scenario. I'm not saying they're Milwaukee or Boston. No way, because they're different levels to this game.
Sure.
But what I'm saying, as far as able to win on the road, the Kings are a dangerous team.
No doubt. Speaking of injuries, we mentioned Nasri because obviously that's affecting the Kings in the Western Conference. In the Eastern side, Julius Randle rolled his ankle. He'll miss at least 2 weeks, so he's not going to finish the regular season. The Knicks are 44-33. They're definitely in the playoffs, I would say. They're they're 4 games ahead of the Heat at this point.
Let me tell you something.
Yep.
He'll be back for 2 weeks.
Okay. All right.
I like the way they throw out these timetables
True.
for certain injuries.
Yes.
But I'm gonna tell you, Scott, it's gut check time.
Yeah.
You're
right.
And it isn't like New York is in the playoffs every year. This is something special for them.
Yep.
All right. They haven't been there. I say they'll probably give that guy a week to get some good good training, some whatever it takes that he needs, treatment, ice, all that good stuff, and he'll be back before 2 weeks.
Hey, to your point, obviously LeBron, everybody was wrong about that. Big Cat, everybody was wrong with that. According to the report, and again, it's just the report, he's out for at least 2 weeks because of that left ankle injury. So we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see.
Yep.
But obviously, the Knicks are having a great year. They need Randall. I don't see them winning a playoff series if he can't play.
He is the engine to that team.
Yeah.
And, Scott, I know it's the organization, it's the staff that says how long you're going to be out, if you could play or if you can't play. But I'll tell you this. If Julius Randle is the guy that I think he is, even if he's only 50%, he's going to tighten that string up and say, I'm going. I am going to, even if, Scott, he go out there and try and can't succeed, at least he's going to give it a try.
Oh, there's no question it'll be a Willis Reed moment.
Yes, he's going to give it a try. No doubt.
Yeah, I agree with that. All right. We'll take the break. When we come back, we're going to have to leave plenty of time for this. It's the Who's on the Floor report because the Portland side of it's going to take probably till the remainder of 6:30 leading up the Kings live pregame to give you all the names that aren't playing for the Blazers today. It's game night right here. Sactown Sports, 1140.
Okay, we're clear. That I don't know if you guys saw, but the Blazers communication page, they had to take 2 tweets to get the full injury report out today.
You can't use 240 characters with that injury list.
No, it's 10 players deep. 9 of them aren't playing tonight. It's
a joke.
It's a G League team, like you said earlier.
It is.
You were influencing our poll a little bit with the other, but it seems like Fox has kind of evened it back out, though. People are feeling De'Aaron Fox tonight.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, Fox is capable of getting 30 any night. He had a stretch of 8 straight. But again, I'm hoping he plays 20 to 25 minutes tonight.
If that.
Yep.
Who would be your ideal guy then? If you had to pick someone.
Trey Lyles.
No.
Trey Lyles, leading scorer.
Not for me.
Who are you feeling, Henry?
Davion Mitchell.
I take Davion in a heartbeat. Absolutely.
Davion Mitchell, because for one, somebody got to play.
Yeah.
Okay. And for number 2, I would love for that young man to get his offense going and get his confidence back going to where it needs to be, because he's going to be called upon to do some things in the playoffs, and I want him to be comfortable out there on the floor.
Davion's career high is 28, so we'll see if he could get near that number tonight. That was last year against Phoenix. He went for 28.
Yeah, no, that would be great to see David. You know what? He's looked a lot better offensively.
Yeah, he has. But like I said, I want him to get his confidence going.
Yeah.
To where he's feeling good about playing basketball, because they're going to need him. What you just said, Delly's out.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
They are going to need him. And if he can come in and give the Kings something on the offensive end, we know what he does defensively.
Yep.
If he's able to give them a little bit more on the offensive side, man, that's going to be great.
Yep.
And we know for sure he's part of the playoff rotation. Like, no ifs, ands, or buts. If you go 8 guys, 9 guys, no matter how many deep you go, Davion's in there.
Yeah, he's getting out there. There's no doubt.
come on, if you go 7 guys, he's out there.
There's no question that he is a major part of it. So I like that call tonight. But I in the big picture, it should be somebody from the bench tonight. It really should be.
Hoping to see some Walker Kessler tonight. How about that?
You mean Kessler Edwards?
That's what I meant. Kessler Edwards.
You got Kessler right.
Yeah, I know. It's like the Davion Donovan Mitchell thing.
I know.
Everyone's got to mess it up at least once.
Yeah,
it happens.
It gets stuck.
You get a mulligan.
It just rolls off the tongue wrong.
We know your mind's with your Aztecs. You're thinking about Final Four tomorrow.
I guess, yeah, that's fair. Maybe that's why I messed it up.
Is San Diego State going to beat Florida Atlantic?
It's weird to think about them being in a championship. San Diego State has no business being in a championship given the size of school and athletic department. So I think they'll win it.
Okay. All right. Well, UConn is by far and away the best team.
Yes,
so,
that is true.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean they're going to win it. Welcome back into game night right here, Sactown Sports 1140. Scott Marshall on with the high flyer and returner as we get you ready for Kings and Blazers tonight. And again, we do have our poll question up there: who is going to score the most points tonight for the Kings? And I am again liking other in our poll. You can vote for Fox, Sabonis, or Herter. Henry, you were talking during the chat on the YouTube side that you want to see Davion get that award tonight.
I do. I really want to see the young man play well tonight. You know, I want him to get his confidence rolling because I think he's going to be a big part of what the Sacramento Kings is going to have off the bench once the playoffs start. Yeah,
and especially for the Kings, if, Dellavedova is not able to play for an extended period of time with the broken finger. Davion, not that he wouldn't have been equally as important, but obviously there's no thought of spreading those minutes out any further.
No, but he's going to be a big part of what we have going, and if he can get his confidence going to where he's having a good time out there on the offensive end, I think that's a plus for the Kings.
I do. I think it's a definite plus for the Kings. All right. Let's get you to the Who's on the Floor report tonight. It's brought to you by Gold River Floors. They're employee-owned. 3 locations to serve you: Sacramento Flooring off Power Inn Road in Sacramento, Gold River Carpet One off Highway 50 in Rancho Cordova, and Gold River Flooring America off East Bidwell in Folsom. For the Kings, we mentioned it, Matthew Dellavedova, broken finger. He's not going to play tonight. Obviously, that'll be a situation that the Kings will have to monitor, and who knows about the timeline for his return right now.
Yeah, one of those things to where it has to be monitored. But I will say this about Delly too. I think he's that type of guy to where, if need be, he's going to tape that finger up, unless it's a serious break to where it needs to be splinted up and everything.
Yeah.
But if it's a situation to where he can tape it up, tape it to the next finger, he'll be there to root his guys on. And if need be, in case of an emergency, you use them.
No doubt. All right, for the Blazers, I want an over-under how long you think it's going to take me to read the injury report for the Blazers tonight.
I'm running to the bathroom.
You got plenty of time.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that. It was nice doing the show with you tonight after I get this done. For the Blazers tonight, missing 10 players. Trendon Watford out with the ankle. Ryan Arcidiacono, back injury. Cam Reddish, back, listed as doubtful. They're going to be out. Ibu Baji out with his knee. Jeremy Grant, the quad. Keon Johnson, finger. Damian Lillard, calf. Yusuf Nurkic, knee. Anthony Simons out with the foot. And Justice Winslow with the ankle. All out tonight for the Blazers. I should have just said who's in tonight for Portland. It would have been easier.
Pretty much.
But if you do look at Wednesday night, I mean, again, calling it a G League team is a little unfair, and it's a little hyperbole. We understand that. I mean, the Blazers still have some NBA players, of course. The rookie Shaedon Sharpe was very impressive on Wednesday. He went for 30 points. He had 7 assists. He's one of my favorite guys to watch because he's so athletic.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. I mean, this young man can definitely get up off the floor. But what I like about him, Scott, is that he seems to be a pretty decent two-way player.
Mm-hmm.
He can knock down shots from the outside.
Yep.
He can get down to the basket, and he plays a little defense. So for a rookie at 19 years old, he's very impressive.
His future is extremely bright. Nasir Little, Another guy who has given some Kings some troubles this year. Obviously, Matisse Thybulle is a good defensive player. For that game on Wednesday, they only played 7 guys. So it tells you just how thin they are. It's going to be a light bench for them tonight. Wednesday night, how are they able to keep it so close for a half?
That I don't know. I mean, I'm in here scratching my head talking about, come on, fellas.
Yeah.
Take care of business. Get these guys out of here and let some of these other guys play. And especially tonight, Scott, you just pointed out that it's probably 2 guys on that roster that knows the Portland Trailblazers system.
Yeah, exactly. It's Chauncey Billups, man. It's just going to be like drawing plays.
Bro, they're going to be very elementary plays also.
Yeah.
So, it's one of those situations to where you got 3 guys who have never played together before.
Yeah.
It's going to be tough for them. Kings, you come out, you run your stuff, you take care of business, you get them down early and get the rest of the guys out. I mean, I keep saying that over and over and over again, Scott, but there's no other way to put it. That's the way the game needs to go.
Without a doubt. And speaking of Chauncey Billups, he's been there a couple of years now. What do you feel about him and his future with Portland? Obviously, it's so unfair to judge him right now with what's going on up there, but it's obviously a hugely disappointing season for the Blazers.
Oh, definitely a disappointing season for them. I think the only thing that's keeping Chauncey in his seat is probably Dame Lillard.
Mm-hmm.
If Dame leaves or Dame says he's uncomfortable, either one, Chauncey's done.
Yep.
Because if Dame leaves, they're going to change the coach, guaranteed.
Yeah, it's a complete blow up in that situation. What's your gut feeling? You know Damian a little bit. Do you think this guy will finish his career in Portland? He's been so loyal to the organization.
He will try. He will try, but it always comes down to a point, Scott, to where it's like, I've given Portland everything that I've had to give, and Portland haven't given me what I need to succeed, and that's been a team that's been capable of making a huge run. So, he is, man. I mean, he's one of the most loyal cats I've ever seen in my life. I mean, I would even have to say he's more loyal than me because I would have probably been up out of there a whole lot faster than him.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it just depends upon how long and how hard you're going to try to just ride this Portland thing out.
Yeah, and realistically, when is Portland going to get back to where they were? It wasn't really that long ago. What, 4 years ago, 5 years ago? They were in the Western Conference Championship game against the Warriors.
Yeah, they played very well, and then the next year it just fell off the mountain.
Yeah, it did, and there's not a lot there. I mean, they do have some young talent. Obviously, Sharp was a great draft pick, but I mean, the combination with Jurkic, and they gave Simons a ton of money.
Yes,
but it just doesn't feel like they're going to be a threat anytime
and
soon.
And I think Nurkic is their biggest downfall because he isn't the guy that creates the double team. He isn't the guy that really protects the rim the best. He isn't the guy that does really just take care and be a menace on the inside. And so now all you got to do is push up on Portland because they don't have an inside presence.
Yep. All right. Update in Memphis. The Grizz are up 59-51 in that contest. We'll be scoreboard watching all evening long. Minnesota beating the Lakers 70-58. That is a huge game. Huge game there. And of course, later on tonight, Denver and Phoenix. That's a big Western Conference tilt as well. That's going to do it for game night. Henry, is always great to work with you and have a great call tonight.
Yes, sir.
All right. Kings Live pregame coming up next. Jason Ross will take you until 7 o'clock tonight. It'll be the G-Man with the call. The Kings are in the playoffs. Can they get to the 2 seed now? Can they get the 50 wins? Second game of the back-to-back in Portland tonight. Keep it tuned all evening, night long. Sacramento Kings basketball as they take on the Blazers right here on Sactown Sports 1140. Have a great night, everyone.
Alrighty, thanks for stopping in, YouTube people. Looks like Fox ended up winning the poll, just for people keeping track at home.
What was the final countdown?
Let me check. 44% for Fox, 32% for others. So a combination of Davion, Kessler, one of those guys coming off the bench. Maybe even Malik Monk. Who knows? Alrighty, light the beam, all that good stuff. Love everybody. See you on Monday. Bye-bye.